I've been waiting so long for this moment, but we're finally interviewing this plant.
Forgotten Knowledge, an update that involves things that come from the moon. Some of them happen to be plant-based. Wormwood, a character that also comes from the moon and also happens to be plant-based. Let's discuss. So about a week or two ago, an update came out for DST that adds 2 new cave biomes and some other mobs to the game. I originally wasn't going to cover it yet as it seemed incomplete, and there overall just wasn't enough content to weaponize and make a guide for. And I still have my speculations for what might happen regarding the new content, but my main interest right now is actually centered around Wormwood and his relation to this new update. So, as I stated earlier, Wormwood, or at least the green gem in the center of his chest, came from the moon.
Mess. Oh, try me, bitch.
Yeah, that's pretty much his entire lore. Not that that's a problem, though, as Wormwood himself is fairly unique. He's the only plant-based character, and he has a lot of useful crafts, and a few plant friends, too. However, that being said, Wormwood is terrible in 2/3 of all situations, mainly due to the fact that the majority of his abilities and crafts are mainly meant for any character that isn't Wormwood. He's arguably one of the best team players in all of Don't Starve, and if Wormwood was only being tested on his ability to work with other characters, then you could say that the character, as it is a success. This just isn't the case though, as Wormwood actually came out as a single-player character beforehand, and his abilities are dreadfully similar and equally unreliable. His use outside of a support and team character is so bad, he's even a worse single-player character than Wes. The main pitch I have today is what I think can be done about Wormwood. He already has a full kit, so there's no need for new abilities. Actually, there's really only one ability that needs any attention, and I'm of course talking about his plant befriending perk. In single-player Don't Starve, there are at least 8 different plant-based creatures, and only 3 of those 8 have any type of special treatment towards Wormwood. In Don't Starve Together, as of the most recent update, there are at least 9. The Tree Guard, Birchlord, Mandrake, Lure Plant, Saladmander, Grass Gecko, Carrot, Seaweed, Toadstool. Okay, maybe Toadstool's kind of pushing it. And coming from the Forgotten Knowledge update, the Mush Gnome. And out of those 9, only 2 give Wormwood any type of special treatment. That's one of Wormwood's key abilities, and it covers less than 1/3 of what it's led to believe. Even though a Grass Gecko or a Carrot wouldn't do much good in a fight,
consider them ignored.
The 2 that are allied towards Wormwood don't do much to help his situation. I actually tried out Seaweeds to see if they would do any good in a hound fight, for whatever reason they might be, and they're not exactly terrible fighters, but it's still a rare occurrence. An even more so rare occurrence, I wanted to see if they could be used to be weaponized against the Malbatross, and,
Then consider them ignored. If they end up firing their howitzers at us, we'll ignore that too.
Lure plants aren't much good in a fight either, and are far better served as farming tools. Even though you can save them up and plant them wherever you want, any hound wave after the 30-day mark will pretty much roll over any lure plants you set up as a means of defense. So as it stands now, Wormwood's Plant Alliance perk is virtually nothing. However, this update brings a lot of potential for Wormwood's Plant Friend ability. Of all the new mobs introduced from Moon updates, at least 4 of them have been plant-based, and thus have a relation to Wormwood's origin. As I mentioned earlier, twice now, Wormwood himself came from the moon and also happens to be one of these moon plant creatures. So is it completely outlandish to say that Wormwood would have some form of alignment, kinship, or at least knowledge of some of these new and potentially upcoming mobs?
They must be a really nasty people.
As it seems now, this update has a lot of links to the moon and plants in general, and with the final image of this next upcoming update, I can't help but feel plants in general will be getting a lot more attention, because when
You take the moon and you take the sun.
you get Wormwood, and we might be a lot closer to taking the moon than we realize. Although we might not get new mob crafts, or even an explanation on why plant creatures fall from the moon, I do remain optimistic that this update will have some type of relation to Wormwood, because as Wormwood stands now, his origin is literally the and it would be a perfect time to give him a few 1-ups when it comes to combat. But what do you guys think? Will this update have a few upgrades in store for Wormwood? Do you agree that Wormwood needs to have his Plant Friends perk upgraded? Do you think that he needs a total rework? Or do you think he's completely fine how he is? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, that's about it. Peace, peace.
You take the moon and 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 you take Now you take